industry, and then we can kick this off.
So I don't have a big, huge update, but I see a couple new faces, so I'll give a quick industry initiatives recap here. So some big things coming up. So Capital Game Expo is happening here in Ottawa, April 1st and 2nd. It's going to be a massive game conference and expo, and it's kind of like a PAX meets GDC, if you're familiar with conferences like event here in Ottawa. So there's going to be a skating rink full of indie and larger studio demos. So a lot from Ottawa, but some from Toronto and Montreal as well. So we're filling a skating rink with Canadian companies showcasing their game and tech, so it's going to be awesome. The expo passes will be $5 per day or $10 for the weekend, which is super cheap. On the conference side, we've actually handpicked industry leaders to come in and give talks on running a studio, getting funding, how to market, how to do PR. And then also detailed design and programming talks as well. So it's going to be a lot of industry knowledge. Full conference passes are $165 for all of that, as well as a Connect Cafe to meet hiring studios, video game art gallery. So this is a massive event happening in Ottawa. So you can check Capital Gaming Expo for information. Along with that, a couple other industry things. So Unity Game Makers. So anyone who's developing on Unity. Unity Game Makers is a group that actually has practical once-a-month sessions, so you can just join a group of people and develop on Unity and learn from each other, collaborate together, which is actually a really cool thing. Ottawa's doing more of this collaboration type stuff. Unity Game Makers meets the first Wednesday of every month. They have a Facebook page with all of the information, so definitely check that out. And the third Wednesday of every month is Dirty Rectangles. So for any of you who haven't been, it's a monthly indie meetup, so you learn all about the indie community here. And they've actually been having events for 6 years, which is really cool. And so I think those are the biggest things happening right now. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We'll let Graeme take it away. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
So thank you for entertaining me tonight, and hopefully I entertain you guys as well. So what I want to talk about a little bit, or reasonably a lot, is just production and how it varies from which side of the fence you're on. So whether you're an internal producer and you work at a developer working for a publisher, or you're a publishing producer and you work with a developer, this talk's really aimed at those two scenarios. If you are an internal producer but you work for a larger company like I do with EA, then the roles are slightly different. So let's look at the key skills for each of the roles. The key differences, like they're both called producers, but they're miles apart, miles and miles apart, so I'm going to look at those. And the common gotchas, these are the things that, like, I have a list of things I think I've done badly over the years, and I'll talk to you about them a little bit, and then a list of things you probably don't want to do. So who am I? Well, firstly, I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm not going to try and recruit you or any of that kind of stuff. I'll just go through this. I work here at Motive in Montreal, so that's EA's new studio. I've been there since September. Prior to that, I was at 343 working on Halo for 5.5 years, between doing executive producer and publishing on Halo Wars 2, and working internally on Halo 4. Prior to that, I was at Ubisoft Montreal and worked on Prince of Persia and Assassins, a few different things, both as a producer internally, so internal project manager, and as what Ubisoft calls a project closer. So basically, when things are on fire and things are broken, you go in and try and fix them, which works or not sometimes based on what you're doing. And before that, I was in the UK, as you can probably tell by my accent, working at Reflection. So we did the driver games in the old days, when you needed teams that were as big as this room today to make stuff, which is obviously not the case anymore. So a couple of things, I want to go through the definitions of how I see the internal producer as a reference it through this presentation, and then I'll go through that and what the publishing producer looks like. So for me as the internal producer, you are the project leader. You own the project all up internally from a budget, timing and quality perspective. You are the champion for all of those things. You manage and run the leadership team, so you're in charge of the project, it's yours. You manage the guys who bring the vision of the project together. So when we look at this from publishing / external side, you represent the project publisher side. So you take all of those things that the internal producer does and boil that up on the publisher side. You own the project profitability, that's a big one on publisher side. You know, how are we making good ROI, how are we making money? You don't have the team management side, but you have the ownership of the project there. And then you own the project and the portfolio. So for a lot of the big companies, it's really important that whilst it's profitable, there's a place for quality and there's a place in the portfolio for where the title's going to sit to. And then you interface with the internal project lead. So that's really a key thing as well. You are generally the face to deal with the person who's going to run the project internally. So I always like to look back at what I did well and what I did wrong. So I'm going to talk through a couple of scenarios as I move through my production career, and then I'll go a little bit more into the specific things. So the first time I was ever a producer was on this, so if you bought this, I am really sorry. It wasn't my fault, I ported the PC. So this was the first time I was ever a producer where I moved to do that role. So I did the PC port of Driver 3. When you look at products, you need to evaluate what you're doing. You know, some would go for quality, some would go for time. This was really a time-to-market product, which shipped the console one many, many months before. So we're bringing this in. So when it's time to market and it's a port, it's not a creative exercise. There's very, very little creative that needed to be done as part of this. It was really a technical exercise. How do we take it to PC? How do we make it work? Well, it kind of worked because it wasn't great. And get it out the door. So then core skills for this, in terms of how this one does. Again, production jobs vary quite a bit. This was a small team. We had maybe 15 guys. Again, it was the foot in the water for me in production, so it was a good kind of edging in, I'd say. This was back in the days when MS Project was cool. I know that's really frowned upon these days, but you know, you knew what you were doing. There was no creative. There was not a lot of unknowns in that case. It was more how do we just put it together and put it out the door. It was all about bug metrics, analysis, and management. What do we want to fix? What was broken in console? How do we do it? How do we move forward? And then look at consumer feedback for what came out when we did the console ones and work out which of those things we needed to fix. I always like to do a little bit of retrospect, so what did I not do so well in? So this was my first production gig, and I think as you're new to producer and you're new to production in general, you like to micromanage everything, you like to control everything, so that was totally me, it was horrible. But and then we made some quality sacrifices. But it's tough because if you're porting something that was, sorry Atari, that was fundamentally bad, then you're not going to have a great version when it comes out. So. But it was for me, it was a good step in the right direction to being a producer. I got to manage a team, I got to look at what it meant to release something, and get a cross group of people together to do something different. So after that then, it was a slightly different job. So I was still at Reflections here, and we built a PSP game. So we'd done Driver Parallel Lines, which was actually a lot better than Driver 3 and came out, I think, 2 years after. And we made a PSP game using those assets. But it was a different game, it was a new thing. So we had new story, new missions, and a new platform. We'd never developed PSP games before, and it was a co-dev between Reflections, which was my studio then, and Sumo Digital, who are also in the UK. And that was the first time we'd done cross-studio things. Back then, game teams, were 100, 120 max, even that was big. So when we did that, we'd actually started to use someone else, so it was a little bit different. So core skills for this, so I had a small team again, that's same level as before, so no problems, but this was the first time I'd done partner management when you're actually dealing with someone else who's producing a lot of your content. I'll talk about this a bit more in detail later on, but that's a whole new level of skills that you need to develop and work on at home. And a lot of the other side of that, when you're doing more publishing style stuff, you need to do more presentations. If you're internal, again, depends who you work for, you're doing less of that, you're more making the game, and the publishing side doing the presentations, whereas in this case it did a little bit of both. So, lessons, first external production units, totally never worked with another team developing something before, so that has its challenges itself. Your team aren't there, you can't go and speak to them all the time, so there's a difference there. I think the second one is really key, the not my way. When you own the project and you build the project and you run the team, then you do things the way you want to do them. It's a very different notion when you're working with another company to do that. So you can't have things your way, you have to be very careful of that. And then you're there to guide, you're not there to instruct. Those last 2 points kind of go hand in hand a little bit. It's how do you coach to get the quality you want and work with that team and not be like, you need to do this like that. If you hire experts, you don't want to tell them what to do. You want to work with them to get the quality you want and not try and push them around. So after that, this was the first time the project closer, and I'd come to Ubisoft in Montreal for this. So this was cool, and we built a licensed IP. It was like a 2 versus 2 fighting game with a story. First time working abroad for me. That has its own challenges itself. You're working in a different culture. And I came for the last 3 months of the project. So this one really wasn't terribly on fire. It needed some guidance and some help, but it wasn't, it wasn't awful like, oh my god, how are we going to ship this? Core skills for this one, when you're doing the more closing style production job, it's all about trying to finish. Well, the first evaluation is, can you finish? And you need to work out quickly, do you have the manpower and the team and the tasks to make the game to the quality you want? That's the first evaluation you need to do. Then you work out what you've got on your list, how do you prioritize those and decide what's really important to be done. Bug prioritization as well, here's these things I want to fix, here's a quality bar I And then in that role, it's really about short-term goals. At this point, you've had a production team who have probably been on the game for the best part of a year and a half to 2 years, sometimes more. So you want to help them through the last stages. Here's how we do age rating, this is what makes sense. Here's your first pass at TRCs, this is what you need to do. And here's your first pass at submissions, here's how you put these together. So it's really short-term driving goals rather than long-term project ones. So for me, I guess lessons in this one, a little bit trigger shy. When UB Montreal, for anyone who's ever been there, it's huge. It's like 2,500 people in an old factory. So as a guy from a little studio with 100 people, it's a big change. Going from the UK and going to Montreal as well, big change for me. Never worked abroad before, so that was a difference. And then I think the other key for a lot of jobs, and this isn't just for this one, is understand the stakeholders, like who makes which decisions where. Especially when you're new in a company, the org chart and the way things look, they're not always the way things work, as I'm sure a lot of you know. So make sure you understand who actually makes the decisions, whether they're left, right, or below you in the org chart. So let's chat a little bit about, for me, what makes a good internal producer, and then I'm going to do the inverse and look at what makes a good, in my opinion, what makes a good publishing producer. So leadership, obviously, super key. These are the values that I try and use for my team now and have done before. So you lead from the front, you are the person that people follow, people will rally around you. When things are tough, they'll come up behind you and you're good and you go together. Never ask my guys to stay late if I won't do it, and never push to do goals that I don't believe in. You've always got to make sure the team comes with you. This one as well, internalize the difficult feedback. So how do you take the feedback you don't necessarily like and agree with and turn it into something productive? Like as a project lead, you can't be going out saying, I don't agree with what X says, but we have to do this. It's a real key skill to go, okay, I'm going to take this on me and I'm going to deliver a message that makes sense to the team, even if you don't believe in it, which is the case quite a lot of times. Making difficult decisions, no one likes a leader who won't make the choice. When everyone sits around the table and everyone's, I want this, he wants that, she wants this, someone has to make the choice. So for me, being a good internal producer embodies that. You will take the decision that's not always popular, but that's kind of the way it goes. Another one, the voice of calm in the chaos. That is part of that role. If you're going to be the leader, you can't look like you fall apart. Like my wife will tell you, I go home and fall apart at night time, but I never show it to you. You've got to keep that inside, and you can go and, I hit punch bags and things, and it keeps me entertained. So I'm sure and you can rally the team. That's another key one. Things don't always go smooth. You're not always on time. Quality's not always good. Feedback's not always good. But when things are in disarray, you have to bring your team back together. And as a producer and internal project leader, you're in charge of doing that. And this one's key for me, you look after your people, always. Like, we talk about resources, you talk about money and computers and all the rest of the things. Remember I think it was a talk at GDC, from a woman who used to work at Warner Brothers, and she said, she drew a resource graph, and she said, the key thing, she kind of scored it out, she said, the best thing in terms of resources, it's your people, they are your resources, computers and everything else you can replace. You need to look after your people and grow them, and then that's your key resource for how you do that. So what else is key? I picked the top 3. You're not going to get a full list of everything. Organisation, again, I know this sounds like ABC production, but the amount of teams I've worked with where they haven't been clearly organised, where short-term goals which roll up to longer-term goals aren't clear, people don't understand the work they're doing and what it actually achieves. You need to work on that a lot. Easy to understand task and project priorities, same thing, like what am I doing, what does it roll up to, what does it mean? Make sure your team understand where they're going and the next steps to get there. This one again, this seems like ABC, but I've seen this where people have roles and they have the same title and it's not quite the same and the job's not quite the same. You want clear roles and responsibilities. We do org charts, well obviously everyone else does, but we do clear roles and responsibility charts as well. So even with people in titles and jobs, you know what they're doing and you know what they're responsible for. So you can go and find that. This one as well, seek out the inefficiency in the team and get rid of them. Like, where are you quick? Keep doing that. Where are you slow? Fix that. And what other problems do you have? I mean, there's a bunch of times where people are happy because production's kind of okay, and you go through and you just leave it like that. You should go and seek them out, as an active thing. The quicker you can get rid of your inefficiencies, the better your production will be at the end. This one as well can handle change, both from how do I take change management to my team and get them to work in a different way. Also, how, if someone gives me change to implement, how do I deal with that? It's a key one where again, you embody the thing sometimes, when even if you don't believe in it, and you work out how to turn that into something rational for the team. This one is I'll elaborate on the true cost. Like everything, not everything, most things in production are possible, they all come with a cost. I always like to understand and can equate if someone says I want X amount more characters, X amount more maps. You can't fit it in the schedule with the people you have, but you need to be able to say, well, if I have 5 more people, 6 more months, 100 more something else, I'm able to do that. So it's always good to have a key on that, and you can offer people trade-offs. No one at exec level likes to hear, no, I can't do that. So it's what does that actually mean? And then another one that all comes to be together within this is, do you master bug and task tracking? Like, I mean, really master it, be able to do good graphs, get stuff out. If you use Jira, build good dashboards. You want easy access to information, you want to know what you're talking about based on a metric level. Last one for me within the internal side. So communication, goal communication and clarity. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Where are we going? Always key again. It happens as much yes as much no, so it's a good one to get sure. This is a principle I stick behind after driver 3. This is like something that I can get tattooed and I'll always stick by this. No fake dates, I hate that. That's my pet peeve with project management. Is let's all crunch towards Saturday. Everyone comes in, it's like only joking, you have a week more. Like no one's interested in that. If you manage your team well and they trust you and you build that trust and you build the responsibility in your team, you don't need fake dates because you'll get your stuff done. Clear communication channels, same thing. Who do you need to talk to get what? Who makes decisions on which things? It's with large teams, especially on bigger AAA games when there's 300, 400 people. Who do you talk to if you want to change? How do things work? Where do these things come together? So it's easy to make sure you put the point for who owns what and who to talk to. Another one, communicates positives and negatives. It's not always easy to say, hey, our last exec feedback sucked and the game's not great, or we're late, or we're in trouble, but people aren't stupid. They can say, know if you're going to make your day or not. It's clear when things are in trouble, so it's good to come up in front of them and say, we're in trouble and here's how we're going to fix it, instead of going like this. Sometimes I leave those till the Monday, it's in trouble on Friday and just kind of have a nice weekend and then worry about it. And the last one, this is the same thing, the sore subjects, like, sometimes people quit, that's life. Sometimes people are unhappy, that's life. Sometimes people go out in a blazing glory when they quit, that's life too. But you need to handle those. It's not just let them go and just hope that no one notices them not there anymore. So this graph, I don't know who did it. I really like it, so I'll put it in here. We're doing UIP at the minute, so it's a little bit on this path, I'd say. So like not long ago, we were kind of like, I think I was somewhere around here where we're like, this sucks and I have no idea what I'm doing. And I kind of feel like we've come back up the other side. But I feel for anything where you start, you'll go through this process where you think it's the best thing ever for day 1 and 2. And then when people start to dig into it a little bit more and it's day 5 and 6, you're kind of like, yeah, this kind of sucks. And then you work your way back up. So there's always ups and downs with everything, but I really feel that this is the most, for the current project stage we're in, this is the most applicable thing for how we're going just now. So measures of success. So you're a great internal producer. What does it mean to actually have built a good project? So there's 4 things for me. So time, obvious one. Did we get it done on time? Did I commit to do it in March and get it done in March? Yes, hopefully. Quality scope's the next one. You always talk about the triangle, but for me it's a square, and I'll show you why in a minute. To deliver what we said we would and to the quality we promised. I mean, you can deliver the scope you said you would, but if it reviews at 20, then you didn't really do what you said you would. Or you can deliver something that's high quality, but if it's 3 hours long, you probably didn't do what you said you'd do either. So it's the balance between those 2 things. Cost, always a key thing. I mean, this, again, depends how your organization, publisher, internal developer works, but did we deliver it for the money we said we'd deliver it for? That was a key one. And the last one for me, this is, I think, when you move towards more people management and talent management than just project management side, you work out this one, Did you, as a keys to success, when you finished, if you did all of these things and you came out, you made a great game, made loads of money, it was on time, cool, but are your people happy? Can you do that again? Or do you have mass attrition because you burn people to death and no one's going to stay? And did you develop your people to are they better, other steps forward for them to go? Can we take in more juniors? Can we have 2 teams? Like, there's a bunch of different things in terms of quality metrics for I did a good job with my people, but you always want to look out for that one. I think at initial project management time, I was definitely in this ballpark, and I didn't really care about this one. But then this one comes together, especially in the bigger studios where you're going to stay together for a long time. You see the teams which do yearly or every 2-year releases, they've got that down there. They have the same teams doing the same things every couple of years on the broader scope of the games because the guys are good. So I talked about what, for me, made a good internal producer. I'll talk a little bit about what makes a good external one. For me, these two, again, same job title, but I feel like they're a little bit like this. So first thing, relationship management, that is an absolute key part of this. And if you move to do a more publishing job, that's the first thing you need to take on board. It's very different to work with someone who's essentially your peer across company than it is to work with someone who's a report or something within the same studio. You want all the market and business relationships. Whilst that's fun sometimes it's heavy as well, but you're there to own them, to protect your developer from those. Own all the first party stuff too. Again, it's cool, you get to talk to a lot of different people about a lot of different things, so from that side it's very different, but you're swapping your kind of relationship hat all over the place as you try and work out who needs what when. And also, lastly, you drive the vendor relationships. So for me at Microsoft side, when we do Halo and we're looking for partnerships with AMD or someone else, you own that. It's for you to go out and sell that, to work out how to work together. So it's a lot of, here's what my project's going to be and here's how we're going to work with all these other teams. One kind of trick with this though is sometimes a lot of these things, you need to do them all, but you don't have a common goal. Like, you know, your developer doesn't want to do any extra work to get an AMD sponsorship, but you need to do it to hit your ROI as well. So it's like, how do you match that? And then marketing usually is, sorry if anyone's a marketing person, want to do something completely different. So there's a balance between that. So presentation, for me, I mean, this is what I'm doing now. You are the salesman for the project when you're working on publisher side. You know, you are going out, we talked about the last slide, you're going out, who can we sell this to in terms of vendors and partnerships, and going and selling it to Best Buy at the GameStop and all the other game stores when you're at E3. There's a bunch of things on that side. You do all the gate presentations. This is a lot more fun of a presentation for me than some of the ones I have to do where, you know, everyone's serious in suits. This is a lot more lighthearted and easier. So you own that, that's a key thing. Getting good at doing presentations is a key thing. I mean, it comes with practice and experience, I guess. You need to sell it to the internal market and business thing. This is also a key one, especially in how Microsoft works. You want businesses buy-in internally for how many units can I sell, because that will dictate your budget overall. So there's a very key thing to sell the premise of what the game is and sell how that's going to turn into ROI on the back end. And then the press engagements, which are and aren't fun again, depending on what you're doing. If you go to E3 and you just go and hang out, it's cool if you go for a week. If you go and you have to press stuff, it's slightly less cool because you sit in a room for like 6 hours a day for 5 days. So hit and miss. I like it sometimes. I like it for day 1 and 2, day 3 and 4 not so much. And then you do all the presentation to any of the third-party partners. Again, this ties into the back thing. How do you take your project in whatever format it's in and stage and sell that to people to get people interested internally within the organisation you work with and any of the third-party things if you want to partner with it. The last one, I like Fallout a lot, so I use a bunch of these. Negotiation is a key thing for the publishing side producer too. So you do the contract and negotiation with the developers. It's always fun. Everyone tries to take their side and try and work out where you go in the middle. It's complex. I mean, it's not easy, but getting good negotiation skills is key for this role. You do the internal negotiation with the business. It's the same thing when he tells you he thinks you can sell 5 million units, but you think you can sell 10. Then how do you get him on your side, and how do you work together and negotiate with him to get it to where it needs to be? And you also do the negotiation on any of the outsourcing and vendor stuff. So last project I worked on external side, we obviously paid our developer one amount, and then we worked with Blur in LA. So we had another subcontract with them, which all rolls into the same profit side. But you have to do the negotiation on that side, and again, you want to make sure you're hitting the price points you want. And then the general biz dev stuff, so publishing side, a lot of it's running the project you have, but I think the other side of it is looking for other interesting projects to do. So sometimes, you know, on Halo side, we knew what we wanted to build, so we went out to do it, and we find someone who wants to do it. The other side of Halo publishing side was, what do people want to come and offer us? You know, we looked at VR, we looked at mobile, we had a bunch of different things where we're taking those. So getting good at the overall meeting multiple partners, you know, biz dev, general negotiations key. So what makes a good published project? This is a little bit different for me in terms of how the publisher looks at it. So first one overall is profitability. Did you make a good ROI? I mean, it's key if you're paying for the project from publisher side, you want to make sure there's some dollar signs within the positive black box, not with a negative red one next to it. Portfolio, so again, did this hit the quality you wanted? You may have got the projects you wanted at the time, but are you proud as a publisher to develop this? I've seen times when games have been almost finished, but the publisher has been like, no, I'm not going to publish that. So you need to make sure that it's hit that, and as external publisher, producer, you're responsible to make sure that gets there. Did it arrive on time? I mean, the time perspective is a little bit different between internal and external, because external time, you've bought your marketing spend. This is super expensive. It's seen the kind of cost of marketing and channels go up over many years. And if you buy your marketing months in advance and then you miss your ship date, it costs you a lot on marketing side, or you have reduced marketing when your title comes out. And last, a little bit like the people one, still 4 things. Partner relationships, same thing. Do we want to work with them again? And do they conversely want to work with us again? Because sometimes you may want to work with the developer again to do something else, but they're like, no, we're not working with them again. That hasn't been the case for me, but I've seen it before. So be good to them and they'll be good to you. So what, if I'm an internal producer, what do I want from my publishing producer? So, you know, I'm working with an independent developer, we have a publishing guy who's going to pay the project. What am I looking for from him? So one, protection. So straight title, but help me as the internal to take all the publishing noise and turn it into rational things you actually want. And the general, I want updates on these things, noise and turn it. Like, you need to take all this noise from the execs, from the reviews, from the press, all these other bits, and help the internal take that into things that are measurable and can actually be done. Honesty, how does the publisher really feel about the project? Because for a lot of the smaller internal developers, you know, a lot of them live project to project in terms of paycheck and how things are going to go on, what you're going to do next. So where are you? You know, are things close? Are we in trouble? Is it misses a milestone and you're dead? You need to have a good relationship on that to move that forward. Support, handle this, like take that off the internal. Whoever's running the project internally, take that as publishing side and look after those things, because it's a lot of burden to deal with marketing, to deal with first party, to deal with third party and everything else. A milestone process, again, this one sounds simple, but I've seen this so badly, it's always not. So what is the milestone process? Make sure it's timely if people are waiting on payment based on those milestones. You pay them on time, you have a good process, they know when they bill you, they know when they get paid. It's organised. What is the process for this? How do we get milestones in? What's the criteria we evaluate them against? How do we give you feedback? And then clear feedback in next steps. Like, I will pay you for this milestone based on these things, or we won't pay you for this milestone based on this, or you'll get a partial or something else. Having that done and agreed at contract signing is the best way to do it. You don't want to try and adjust it midway, because you can adjust it if it's bad, and you set a process up that doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, there needs to be flexibility, but set that up as part of your contract process so you know on either side how things are going to work, what the terms are and how they're going to be. Because what you don't want is publishers randomly going, okay, we're not paying you for this milestone for a non-valid reason. So make sure that process is clear on that side. So firstly, if I'm on the other side, so I'm a publishing producer, what do I want from the guy who runs the project internally? So one, transparency and tracking. Where are things really at? Like, be honest with me, tell me where things are, show me how you've worked out where they are. You don't, on the publishing side, want to dig into the smallest, tiniest little details. But you want to understand where things are at and have confidence in the numbers and tracking that you're getting from the internal side. Flexibility, this isn't, hey, we're going to come and change your whole game all the time. It's, you've got to make project changes sometimes. That's the reality of life. Even as internals who work for bigger, you know, as internal studios like I am now, we have the same exercise where we do it for ourselves. But when you're working with a dedicated publisher, as an internal, you need to be willing to make those changes and be flexible in that regard. Commitment to goals. if we make an agreement and, you know, publisher and producer goes and sells that to his publishing management for this is what we're going to do next, this is how this is going to work, then you need to make sure you be committed to hitting those goals, because it's difficult when you are remote and you sell the vision of what the next milestone is going to be and everyone signs off on that, and then you turn up and you've got like a broken build with one car. Like that doesn't look good on you, and it doesn't look good on your developer either. And availability, this one sounds weird, but for me last time, we worked with Creative Assembly in the UK on Halo Wars 2. The time difference from Montreal, well, from Seattle, sorry, it was on the West Coast, to there was 8 hours. I need that publisher, I need the internal producers to talk to, you know. With 8 hours time difference, that isn't great, but he needs to be available because you have things that come up during your day. So there's a decent window of time where, you know, kind of call and try not to be after 9 o'clock at night his time, that's not cool, but when you have those different time differences, you need to look at how you can be available and work out how to work together with a bigger time difference, because that's a big challenge when your management wants a thing or wants to understand what's going to happen, and then you have no one to talk to on the other side. So these are quick. If I ask for one thing and they ask for something else, what it actually means. So publishing sites and the complete visibility. This is generally when anyone misses a milestone or people start to freak out in scope. It's like, I need this complete visibility, all the tracking and tasking, what are you doing, give me access to your Jira, blah, blah, blah. All he really wants is a headline weekly report with the cool, that's it. So it's trying to calm people down and come to a more rational point of view. I need you to make this big list of changes, same thing again. Usually these are spurred by a bad build, a late build, or these kind of things. What does that really mean? You probably just do 3 and you're good. So it's really like, just take a list on the order of right? I need high quality daily builds. Again, same thing. These will come. That's a stable build twice a week would probably be 8. It's kind of, it really depends on, you know, these all come from panic. When things are cool, no one wants daily builds, no one wants daily reports. When the build's bad and you're late, everyone wants everything. And this one, I have a small market ass, probably does.
You're good.
And that, like, on publishing side, it's your job to prevent that, really. Like, for me, that's, you're there to protect them. You know, we talk about the protection side. Excuse my language, is what we call the shit umbrella, where you make sure that nothing lands and you protect your developer to allow them to do the things. So that's from publishing side. So internally, so you ask me for 1 million changes all the time. What does it mean? Can you just prioritize that list of things you gave me? This is another one. How can I possibly do a full plan to the end of the project? Unless you're a psychic, you're not going to plan out a full thing with all the staff for 3 years. Probably just take and we agree on the next gate. This build is work in progress, so if you get told this, that's probably what that means. It's cool, it's work in progress, okay, no, not really. And then we need to make a few small scope adjustments, that usually means that. That's when things are like, your scope's like this, and you're going to narrow it down. So, there's a basic overview for me for how they work. So, what are the ups and downs of both? Or the challenge, we'll call it, instead of ups and downs, we'll call it challenges. So you're an internal producer, it's your project. Well, the plus side, you have total control of the project management. You run things how you want, you do sprints as long as you want, you run your backlog how you want, you use Jira or Handsoft or anything else that's totally new. You build a team, key. Like, I like doing both of these jobs. I like team building as much as I like publisher side. So building the team is great. If you're into that, you're into management, you're into running the team, that's super cool. Sense of ownership, like when you build that and it's your team and you drive towards results, you have results and you have momentum, it's awesome, it's so good, it's cool. Ability to affect change, again, it's your team, you're moving with the momentum you want to move with, and when things go well you can change that, you can make it quicker, you have direct contact with the people doing the things and the management team running it, so that's what it goes. And you can choose how to fix things your way, that's another thing. When you're a publisher side, you highlight the problem, don't necessarily tell them how to fix it. When it's your problem and it's your team and it's broken, you work out to fix it, which is cool. Downsides of this, all the problems are your problems, so when your publisher tells you that the quality's bad and the frame rate's bad, it's for you to fix them. Like, you'll go to bed at night and, you know, or go to the beach and drink mojitos, it's you who's going to be in the office working out how to turn them into actual things. And you have the HR/general management tax too, you know, when you're publisher side, you're out here, and you look at the project and it's fine. When you're internal and you run the team, if you're effects guys, so if anyone's an effects guy, I'm sorry, is a pain in the arse, then it's your problem to deal with that pain in the arse. So these are kind of differences. So external side, so what's the positive from being the external producer? So first one, project-centric and product-centric. You don't manage the team. How the team runs, if guys are a pain in the arse, if you come late in the office, not your problem. You want to make sure the project's good, but you own the product, but you don't worry about the team management side. Cool to interface with all the publisher disciplines. I like that. You go and work with marketing on your plan, you work with business on your plan, you can work with all the other teams, that side of stuff's cool. Problems aren't always yours to fix. Same thing as we looked at from the slide before. It's not, you can point out problems with things, it's for the internal developer then to work out how to fix them. You can advise and coach, but you're not necessarily there, pressing the keyboard to try to make things go. Get exposure to a lot of products. So like when we talked about the biz dev side of things, as much as you're managing your products and looking how you're going to build your roadmap for where you're going to go, you get to see a bunch of cool stuff. People come and pitch things to you, you go and do different things, so from that side it's really cool. Challenge is, this is what personally one of my biggest dislikes, is you're disconnected sometimes from the product. Like, we owned Halo and Halo Wars from 343 side in Seattle, we develop it out in the UK. You're far away from the day-to-day. You own the product and respect it, but it's not yours, it's not there in front of you. So as an internal producer, moving to publishing and back, for me, I find that difficult. Like, it's mine, but it's far away, and the ability to affect change is difficult sometimes too. Remoteness from the developer, again, depends where you are. We have the real extreme case where we're West Coast and then in the UK. So 8 hours time difference, 10.5-hour flight, it's difficult, especially if you're used to working with people closely. And I think with the time difference, one of the hardest challenges is the gap in the morning of time to actually work together is like 2 hours. And then they're gone for the night and your guys are coming in, so there's a balance there. And watching struggles for me can be difficult. Like, you aren't there to tell them what to do. Like, if you hire experts, you let them use their expertise, but when they're struggling, you can help them and push them a bit, but it's difficult sometimes to watch them continue to struggle and try and fix things when you know there's a better way to do it. So that one really depends on product and relationship. If it's a time to market, it's a work for hire, you're going to do one game with them and you need it out of the door, you can push it a bit more, it's fine. If you hire a AAA developer and do AAA content, it's a little bit different. So here's a list of things not to do. These aren't all me. These are all real examples of things that people have done that aren't great. Some of them are me. Don't try and manage your team remotely. That is, for me, that is an absolute sin. I've seen it where team was working on something, internal side organization was poor, but external producers, and then they try and run the project remotely. It doesn't work. If the team can't function well themselves from an internal perspective, you trying to manage it externally and manage the database and their planning and their tracking, it's not going to work. Don't do that. Unless you're going to put someone on site. But you're better to try and fix at the cores from the internal developer than you are to try and do that. Don't hire experts and tell them what to do. This is another cardinal sin for me. If we go and we hire you because we want your expertise, because you know how to do things better than we do, because you've done it before, it's really bad to then go, hey, here's how you should do that when you don't have equivalent experience. Like, if you're paying top dollar, you want to let them do that. If you want to do things cheap and do this kind of exercise, you're better to hire a cheaper developer and instruct them step by step on how to do those things. Don't keep changing the goals and objectives. Another one, this is horrible, especially if they're focused on a milestone, you're trying to move things forward, and then you're like, only joking, let's do this instead. I mean, it's really disruptive. So having a clear, here's your next goal, here's the things that I need you to achieve and prove out within this goal, and if we don't manage this, here's what we're going to do and how it works, is better than being, build this, make this red day 1, day 4, make it blue, day 5, don't do it all. So there's a lot of balance between those. Don't make promises you can't keep. This is another key one, and for me, this really relates to how for some of the smaller developers, how you function on a day-to-day basis, look for the next contract. People need to not promise that, hey, this goes really well, we'll sign you for another game. Like, I've seen that before, and it's really bad faith, and you totally don't want to do that. Internal side, so I'm the internal producer, what do I not want to do from my publishing side? Don't hide where the product's at. If I'm on publishing side and things aren't going well and it's not smooth and it's difficult, we can help you, especially Microsoft. We have loads of resources, there's a bunch of different teams. Things can be done if they come and say, hey, this is broken, we need an export in 3D. You can find someone to help. So it's really clear, like, make sure you're clear on where things are at. Don't overcommit for the contract. That one's really, like, I've seen that before where it's like, yeah, I can totally write your render in 2 days and you render things. That's like, not really. You want to make sure you sign up for something that's feasible to be done. I know that sounds like ABC, but if you overcommit, you won't deliver, or the quality will be bad, or worst case, you'll manage to get it kind of done and you'll burn your own revenue from, you know, any profit you would have made in terms of side. So really, there's a balance on that side of stuff. This one as well, I see this so many times. It's like, yeah, we'll get to your feedback later on. And you just wait till content complete comes and it's like, hey, it's content complete, we can't do it. So from that one for external side, make sure if you give your developer feedback, where does it go, how do you track it, and poke them if things aren't getting done. Don't just let it kind of like, you will it away, and then, like I said, just hope it vanishes and you don't have to do it. And don't avoid asking for help if you need it. It's cool, we all make mistakes, we all over budget things, we do things late, we get things wrong, we think things are fun and they're not. There's a bunch of different things we do, everyone does them, but ask for help if you need it. It's always key, because a good publisher will be like, I have a domain export in this thing and we'll come and help you on this front. I think with this one, a lot of the internal teams, they don't want to do that because they feel like they open the door for the kind of ramen of people that come in and will help you with everything. It's like, I need a little bit of help with 3D, you open the door and then you get 5 game designers with, you know, an art visionary and someone else. So it's really like, make sure you're clear on what you need and why you need it. So for me, I've done both. What do I like best? I'll talk about this a little bit. Publish it, I like them the same, I really do. It's not it's kind of a cop-out. I kind of go from one side to the other. So publishing side, the travel's cool. She's looking at me funny because she's not happy with how much she used to travel, but it was fun, it was good. Meeting new developers, I like to go and talk to people, I like to see what other developers are doing. Everyone's good at something, the more people you talk to, the more different things you see, approaches. There's different, I've learned things from tiny mobile developers to super huge corporations like Microsoft. There's always something to learn and someone to talk to. Interfacing across the organisation is great, especially Microsoft level. It's a million different people, which is good and bad based on what you're trying to do. But it's cool, you get to go and see different things and how they do them. Press and events, again, I kind of like that sometimes and I kind of don't either. I'm a little bit half-half on that, depends on what you're doing. E3, Microsoft E3 is cool. You have a huge big booth, it's well funded, your events are fun. And unveiling your product for the first time is awesome too, that's really cool. What not so much when you're internal side, or, sorry, what do I like internal side? Ownership of the product's great, I really like, now I'm back on the internal side, I really like that this is our product, we drive it forward, we own it, we're responsibility for the decisions, and we have the ability to make the changes to do that. Building and managing a team, same thing for me, I like this, I missed that on publishing side. You have a smaller team, you don't have the group of guys doing it, so I really miss that, I really enjoy doing that again now. Planning and executing, there's nothing more awesome from production side if you build a plan and it's great and you execute and the result's great. It's really, that's, you know, you've hit the pinnacle of doing things well there, so from that side I really love that. And achieving real success, so you build a good plan, you had good design, you had good tech, good people, you build it, you push for it, and then you have it and you play it in your hands and you know that was driven by the effort that you guys put together. So that, for me, that's awesome. So for me, again, the jobs are fairly different in approach. They both have very different things that are good and bad. I go like this between the two of them, like I'm back on internal for a while, or probably when project finishes, or maybe do publishing again, we'll see. But it's good to keep yourself sharp, given one or the other. They both feed in. You have to deal with an equivalent person based on what you're doing for the other role, so it's always that. So my next adventure, I'm not going to try and sell the studio to you much, I will a little bit. So I'm back to internal development, so I'm at Motive at EA, so I've been there since September. We are like smallish team at the minute, but we're building a new IP, which is super cool.
What's the IP?
I'm going to talk about that. Unfortunately, I've been press trained, so get to build a new team, so we're like 15 at the minute. We start to grow our studio. The studio itself is 100 and something, my team's 15, so we start to build up. So building a new team is great. There's a lot of work in making sure that the people you bring in fit the culture and the profile of what you want. It's really important that you do that. I'm really culture first. You know, if a guy has 99% skills but he's not super cool, then I'd rather take a guy who has 95% skills and is cool. So there's a balance. Get to build a new IP, super cool. It's been a long time since we've gone out and done something new and different. I mean, I appreciate my time on Halo, but 5.5 years of Halo, it's all Halo all the time, so it's nice to do something a little bit different. So we're doing that. Work for a new company is always cool too. I worked for EA in the 90s, a long time ago in the UK. EA then and EA now are very different, so it's a good, interesting exercise to go and work somewhere else. It really is. You take your skills that you know you're good at, and then you see how they fit within the company. And you adjust your communication and how you work and all those things based on who you're going to work for next. And for me, it's super exciting. It really is. It's. I took this opportunity. We wanted to move back to Canada a little bit. You know, we've had some election problems in the US, so the transition to Canada was a little bit easier based on that. So building a new team, working at a new company, building a new studio, building a new IP. It's really. For me, I took this because this, in terms of production challenges, this is the top of the mountain. So if I can climb there and we do this, and it's great, and the team's great, and on time, we made a great game, we have great retention, and the team's happy at the end, I'll feel like I succeeded, and then I'm going to start a B&B in Hawaii if I can get some bio. But I need to work on the negotiation skills on that. So that's it for me. Questions? Yes.
Do you prefer short projects or longer ones like Halo?
Closing is, so I vary a lot. Position closing's cool when you're going in at UB for 3-4 months because you're producing stuff, you ship things, it's real, you have real things to show. But you lack some of the stuff from conception. 2-ish years, 2-3-ish years is ideal for me. What we're doing now will be a bit longer, so we need to get into the framework of that. There's guys who are good, really good at conception, there's guys and girls who are really good at finishing, so you need to adjust the skills, I think. Trying to go too quick at the start, you end up in trouble. Going too slow at the end, you also end up in trouble, so it's really about adjusting the pace and bringing in the right people. We're kind of middling, I think. Like I say, I swap between doing closing, internal, external, and it just vary a little bit. So if you do all of them, you always keep your skills fresh, I guess.
How do you build your calendar? Like for the different events you've got to go to, the different people that have different priorities over your time, and when you need to really address the staff, but oh shoot, you've got to be in LA. How do you manage that?
It's tough. I always try and have a good right hand. You know, who's going to make the calls when I'm not there? How do those things come together? In terms of how do we calendar out for events? I mean, when we do, for me, a high-level project management style internally, generally do monthly milestones. I build it from two-week sprints. And then I have an overarching 3-month bigger goal for, let's say, it's E3 demo plus whatever. There's like 3 months worth of work that goes into that, and then there's 3 themed sprints that add up to what the end milestone will be. So let's say it's multiplayer E3 demo, you know, maybe the first milestone is let's do the map, 2 let's do the vehicles, and 3 let's polish and fix all the rest of the stuff up. And then we put the other travel things in the middle. It's tough sometimes though, when we're doing from publishing side, when you're traveling a lot and you're trying to fix things back at home, because although the production team isn't there, you still have to deal with marketing, you still have to deal with any of the other bits that are socially located within the studio you're in, but you're off on the road all the time. So, and it's tough, and time difference and traveling a lot is like that. So there's a balance in that. Yeah. It's easier from publishing side that because you're not actually running the team. I always make sure I have a good right hand, perfect. Someone who will make the decisions, thinks the same way you do. Like I have one guy that I worked with in the UK, and I've tried to hire him like 4 times. I can never get him to come anywhere else, but he's my perfect right hand man. I keep telling him that, but even when I feed his ego, he won't come. So I've kind of started to give up. But if you find someone who thinks the same way as you, will make the decisions kind of the way you would have done them, it's awesome, because then you can kind of let it go and roll by it a little bit.
So it's a question related to that. So project forecasting is impossible to begin with, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, for games, what are some approaches that you use?
So I mean, there's varying different ways based on what you're doing. So Halo is easier because there's X amount of Halo history. So you know what, we did Halo Wars 2, which came out yesterday. So we know Halo Wars 1 sold. So at that high level, you look at what was the install base of Xbox, where was it in terms of peak for sales. You look at where are things, how many units did it sell versus that, and you can map that out. Halo Shooter Series, same thing, there's a lot of history. For things that are new, it's different. It's really what comparatives do you have in the market that you can try and lean on a little bit. Where do you think you're going to go with quality? And then what is close to that you can potentially lean on a little bit. But the industry's going like this in terms of changes, so it's even more difficult now than it's been before.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the self-fulfilling prophecy though, so if you get a bad forecast, or even a moderate forecast, your budget will be tied to that forecast to make sure you make, that there's some profit assigned to it. If you go that route though, sometimes you'll end up, it'll be inevitable that you will fail because you won't get enough budget to make a great game to hit the numbers. So that's the kind of negotiation and business part. How do you build a good case early on? Pick games that are successful comparatively, or trends where you know things are going, and try and line them up so you have a comprehensive package of, it'll be like this game that did these units when install was like this. Here's the future trends we see coming up. Here's how Generation Z will do things, and you try and build a kind of substantial package. But for sure, it's like that. But it's really the convincing people that the product and proposition all up wrapped together is going to be something that you can sell and fits within the portfolio. A little bit as well depends on where you work. EA obviously don't have a platform, we're platform agnostic, so we develop for different things. Microsoft, because they have a platform, some titles are designed to be first-party platform sellers. So how they forecast there is a little bit different because sometimes it's not all about pure game revenue. It's like, can we drive units with this platform? So I guess we'll see some more console exclusives with Scorpio this year. Question?
Just in terms of the difference in cultures in different countries you worked for, is there any key things you would like to bring up to people, like if they're going to the UK, for example, like things, any differences?
Just drink a lot of beer or something like that.
Drink a lot of beer.
More beer? Okay.
I find that West Coast is the most relaxed, I find. I mean, the further west you go, the more relaxed it goes, I guess. So UK for me, I grew up there. That's my culture, Scottish, obviously. It's a bit more direct. It's a bit more to the point, I find, in terms of honesty on things. Montreal's nicely in the middle. And then West Coast is a bit more relaxed. Hey, we'll get to this. I find it's a bit more passive-aggressive on the West Coast. So sometimes you really have to push your agenda to get it through and get your questions answered. That West Coast for me requires a lot more follow-up. And the UK, you need to be a bit gentler sometimes, or you need a thicker skin because sometimes for use of a better word, the blows come heavy in the UK, so you need to ease this back up. So it really depends, but that's kind of the frame, and it's interesting though when you go somewhere else and you work with another company in a different country, on understanding how those things are done. Even company size makes a big difference for me because we worked at Microsoft, and gaming's like this of Microsoft, and then you have this whole other ecosystem, so there's a lot of politics and how things get done there as well. So that's a challenge. Company size is a challenge in itself, especially when I worked at Reflections when I was like 80 people. So there was no politics because my boss was a studio head. He was never going anywhere, and I knew everybody else. So that's very simple.
Before being a producer, what was that transition like? Like, what did you do, and how did you get that first opportunity to sort of lead a team from that angle?
So I started in QA. I came out of university. I'd done electronic engineering and computing. I'm not even sure really why I chose electronic engineering. I kind of feel that high school was coming towards the end, and I'm like, what do you want to do at university? And I was like, this. I kind of like physics, so I did that. I worked for EA in QA for a while. I went and worked at Rockstar on GTA 3, which was awesome. That was really cool. Then I went to Reflections as a level designer. It was mission scripter / level designer. So that was my first build content style. Well, that was cool because we did Stuntman, so it was 2002. So that was a small team. You were quick. You could make, iteration time wasn't spend a day to export all your assets. It was like change your mission, export it, play it. Really cool. State of Reflections, the QA manager was leaving, and they were building up the build system side. So I had a bit of a tech background and understood how that did. So I ran QA and build system. And then Driver 3, the project manager, not to speak bad of, he's not dead, but we'll call it, he's dead in the industry, so we'll say speak bad of dead. Usually expansion comes when someone doesn't fill the role. Like if someone's failing or someone's going, that's when you'll get spikes in expansion. So he'd done a bad job, I was doing QA and he ended up doing more QA and tasking, and as he started to fade out, I started to get more power, and then that's kind of how it came. Didn't look to push him out, it was just a kind of natural transition. And then I started from there, and then once you've done it, that gives you your role, and then it moved forward after that. Then Ubisoft bought Reflections in 2006, I think. I finished the PSP game we were doing, and then they were like, hey, do you want to come to Montreal? So life in the UK was kind of boring, and I wanted to change, and I'd gone from a 100-person studio to go to 2,500, so in terms of role and things to do and interest, I didn't want to work on just driving games anymore. So that was cool. That was basically how I did, and I just kind of moved through. I've always moved, and again, thanks to my wife because she's really nice on this, I've always moved for the opportunities that were interesting. I think, in today's market, if you want to go after cool stuff, you need a bit of flexibility to want to go to different places.
When you're building a team, what are the key features you look for in the people that you're that's going to trust and make sure they don't flop and fail?
So in the old days, I think, like literally the lead would just interview the person, and then they'd be like, hey, this guy's cool, or she's cool, and they come. Microsoft is like, you interview for like 2 days, and like you meet a million different people. I was trying to do the middle of that. I want to make sure, this sounds like common sense, but lead needs to be happy, peers need to be happy, if it's gameplay programmers, designers need to be happy. So we do a fairly comprehensive loop of amount of people. So your day's like 8-10 people maybe, but you get a good vibe from the team overall from different angles. We plan out what every person's going to talk about. Again, this seems like ABC, but I've seen teams that don't do it. So this guy covers production, this lady covers, design philosophy. So you understand that. As many questions as I ask from a technical point of view, we look for culture things. What do they like to do? What do they like to play? I always like to ask people what the most disappointing game they ever bought was and why, just to get the kind of vibe for what what's interesting. But yeah, I look for team fit a lot. And fortunately, at the minute where we are in Montreal, because the games industry is fairly close, it's easier because people know people. Like a lot of people work at Ubisoft, so you get a general vibe for how people are from someone else who worked with them. But in general, it's a decent amount of people. Understand what you want from the role, who that person has to work with is key as well. If the person's super outgoing and the team's really quiet, then it's probably not going to fit into that team. So there's a balance for looking who you have to work with and getting a good sway of people across the company in different roles to say, yes, I like or I don't like. And then we'll plan who's going to ask what, and then we'll do a round table at the end, and then you discuss why you like them or you don't. And we always say, then it's hire, no hire, but soft hire should always be a no hire, because if you're soft hire, you're not convinced by the person. So we always say soft hire is no hire, so it's yes, I'm convinced I want this person, or no, I don't. There's generally a balance between those. Anyone else?
You mentioned something about purchasing a market, and then if you don't hit the deadline, then you're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Around what point in the project do you start purchasing? Does the market purchase happen?
So in terms of marketing spend, depends when you're launching and what else is coming out when. So the Black Friday window in the US for games is huge, so the marketing spend, that's when COD's dropping their money, that's when Battlefield are dropping their money, so it's generally booked a couple of months in advance. It's the same with manufacturing, those two generally go hand in hand. If it's a quiet time, you can purchase it later because no one else really wants it as a premium. And so yeah, a few months or so it's booked. The calendar's done, but the commit isn't done yet. We book it out in terms of here's when we're going to do these big beats and here's how it'll work. But In the Microsoft process, we have a gate called Go or No Go, where you review the build, you look at how many bugs you have left, you look at what tasks there are, you look at the quality and see if this is something we want to ship, and then they do the Go or No Go, and that is the commit to, I'm going to build 8 million disks and we're going to commit to the market as well. So it's kind of a last stage. It's funny though, for some of the bigger games, you do the Go or No Go, but you know it's always going to go, so you don't even know why you bother. It's like, this needs to go. So it really, there's really a balance, I think, but that's generally how we do it.
So again, that's a leading question from that. So the hard and fast milestone-based dates or event-based dates are always like killer, right? So how do you, what are some approaches that you use to compromise scope versus schedule?
So that one, yeah, I mean, this is the other stuff of film prophecy. It's like, if you do a really big different E3 thing, then you damage your product, and you're probably worse at the end. If you don't do a good E3 thing, then you damage your market and you damage your product at the end. So there's no real balance. One thing we did for Halo Wars 2 was when we built our vertical slice, we built the foundations of the vertical slice for what we could do for E3. So you were getting half of it for free on the way. So that generally we always did single player story based vertical slices. But for this we did the multiplayer vertical slices. The first time we'd done that, but we knew that we'd do a multiplayer beta for E3 and we knew we'd have multiplayer on the floor. So we kind of scoped that out. But in the end, as usual, yes, you always blow your scope out for E3. I don't really know what the really great answer for that is, because I think we always plan, we know what we want to do. I always try to put a bunch of time in there in terms of, hey, we want to be finished by X date. It always goes like, I think we made a fundamental mistake last year when I was at Microsoft, where we launched a beta where the behind closed doors experience single player, and we had 2 platforms on floor playable. So there's like, it's so much content to try and do, and then yes, your game hurts at the back end, because you're supposed to say, hey, I'll take 40% of my team and 60% will work on the main game. That's not true at all. It's like 90% go on the demo, and you're lucky if your main branch for your game works. I think having reasonable scope, working out your MVP, your minimum viable product for what you can ship for that